to the United States of America. If the lights go out here, it's going to be a darkness all over the world.
Let's not throw up our hands. Let's roll up our sleeves.
Oh,
because
dude, what an answer. Let's not throw up our hands. Let's roll up our sleeves. It's a great answer, dude. Let's not give up. We don't have to give into this shit. Kamala joins The View, baby. Dude, this is a big deal, bro. You'll notice everybody gave her shit. Like, oh, she's not doing any interviews. But she is all over. Now, look at what she's done in the last week. She went on one podcast, then she did Call Her Daddy, then she did 60 Minutes, now she did The View and Howard Stern, two of them on the same day. You may have noticed her media strategy is she's ramping this up right before the election, where now it's like Kamala is everywhere. And she's getting endorsements from everywhere. The fact of the matter is there are some hardcore Republicans voting for Kamala Harris. And I know the leftists are all tweaked out. The leftists are all spitting because they're mad that she's going and getting Republicans for votes. But I don't really see anything wrong with it. I feel like the leftists are being pretty fucking obnoxious. They're purity testing. They're being just like 2016 again. And so I think Kamala is going to go to the middle. And I don't really have a problem with that. She can't capitulate to those left-wingers. If she disarmed Israel, her campaign would be done. I know they keep showing one YouGov poll that says like 60% of the people want to disarm Israel. But dude, 60% of the people like the sound of not sending any more weapons and they want the killing to stop. But dude, if we disarmed Israel, the right wing would paint her as a Hamas supporter. They would literally have videos in 12 hours in every market in America saying how Kamala Harris supports terrorists. And it would be the end of her fucking campaign. Like the leftists, no offense, guys, but you need to shut the up. Like, stop already. Learn how to build a coalition to get some shit done instead of just being these guys where you see everybody else doing some shit and you go stand 10 feet away and say, you're not doing enough.
We believe in the promise of America.
We do!
And are we ready to fight for it?
Dude, I'll be honest, bro. Kamala Harris has me oddly patriotic. Even in my content, I have embraced the American flag imagery. I've never done that before, guys. I've pretty staunchly been anti-flag my whole life, dude. I've been far from patriotic, but she stirs a little something in me of like, you know, kicking Trump's ass.
Trump is lying, claiming that the Biden administration is intentionally withholding aid from the areas where Republicans live, and that FEMA funds are being redirected.
Those hurricanes things up,
that is something he did in 2019. What do you think the effect of these lies are, and why is he doing this?
Well, it's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility and, frankly, callousness.
Yeah.
So lives are literally at stake right now. I traveled to Georgia and to North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. In Georgia, I met a woman who, just days earlier, her husband was killed in their home by a fallen tree.
Yeah.
Days later, I met with her and her daughter. You can imagine the pain, the shock that they are still in about what they experienced, what they witnessed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about real human beings and their lives, and them losing everything. Everything. This woman lost her husband, her child lost her father. Mm-hmm. People are losing their home with no hope of ever being able to reconstruct or return. Yeah. Yeah. And the idea that somebody would be playing political games for the sake of himself, but this is so consistent about Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really lacks empathy on a very basic level.
Dude, he absolutely lacks empathy.
Suffering of other people, and then understand.
I mean, we know this. Trump, all he cares about is how can I profit off this? That's his whole motivation. He's like, oh, hurricane devastation. Yeah, let's go have a press conference, and I'll go out there and say I'm the only person who cares. People are gonna vote for me. But he could give two shits, bro, about anyone suffering, dude. He doesn't care. He doesn't care at all.
The role of a leader is not to beat people down, it's to lift people up.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time of crisis. There are over 200 former members of both Bush presidencies.
It's crazy.
John McCain, Mitt Romney.
I've never seen so many Republicans support
thinkers,
a Democratic candidate. You know what I mean? It's really unprecedented.
And frankly, one of the things that I'm very proud of that we have done collectively is we really are building a coalition around some very fundamental issues, including that we love our country and that we have to put country before party. We have to agree about the sanctity of the oath we take to defend the Constitution of the United States, to support the Constitution of the United States. And I do believe the closer we get to the election, the more that people reflect on what's at stake, including the fact that the former president tried to undo the will of the people in a free and fair election on January 6th, led what was a violent attack on the United States Capitol. 140 uniformed law enforcement officers were attacked. Some died. I have seen from people who are former Trump supporters who are supporting me that was a bridge too far. And back to the point.
Dude, it's insane how this is the thing that I find baffling is most of the people that worked with Trump in his first administration have all come out against him, saying, hello, America, we worked with this guy. This guy is a disaster. This guy is dangerous. This guy is like going to pay zero attention to the Constitution. He's surrounding himself now with a bunch of yes men who will allow him to break the law and they will put up no guardrails. 100 people who have worked with the man. Would you hire somebody to fix your car if 100 people who had worked with that person told you they were terrible and were going to fuck up your car? No, you wouldn't. So why will people hear from all of his previous administration people and still be willing to vote for the man? That's fucked up. Like there's something going on that is not normal.
A bipartisan group of members of the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members, work together with our support to craft the most serious and strong border security bill we've seen in years. Donald Trump got word of it and told them don't put the bill up for a vote because he didn't want a solution because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. So then we had to do, in addition to what we've done since day one in trying to strengthen the border, we took further action in terms of executive action. We have seen illegal immigration reduced by half, the intake of fentanyl reduced by half. But ultimately, if we want a real fix to this, Congress has to act. We need, for example, in that bill, we would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why the Border Patrol supported it. I went down to the border, and let me tell you, these border agents are working around the clock. They're trying as hard as they can. They need more resources. I have personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. I have taken on the cartels.
Isn't that weird?
I've prosecuted the cartels.
Isn't that weird to think about it? Like, she actually has a very strong record of prosecuting gangs, prosecuting traffickers, putting people in prison, being a hard ass on the law and order tip, and going after corporations, preventing corporations from taking advantage of citizens. She has a very strong record of this. And yet people are like, no, the woman who's like prosecuted gang members and traffickers, like she's not the one who's tough on law and order, but the guy with 34 felonies and 6 bankruptcies and tax fraud and defrauded a charity and had a fraudulent university and you know what I mean? And the sexual abuse and like all the scams and cons and 4,000 lawsuits against him. That guy is going to defend law and order. How? Right? You know what I mean? How?
I understand the serious nature of this issue and the need to fix it.
What are they
and
talking
solutions
about?
are at hand, but again, Donald Trump prefers to run on problems instead of fixing problems. He's not solution-oriented. And again, I will invite people, if you really need to know how he thinks, since he doesn't do these kinds of interviews, watch his rallies. He spends full time engaged
his
in
rallies
grievance about what has happened to him.
Right.
Dude, they're like unwatchable now. I know we've watched a bunch and we'll watch some when there's, crucial parts because of the content to highlight things. But like, bro, his rallies now they're just unwatchable. They are just a torrent of like transphobia and grievance and, Hitler type comments about, immigrants. I mean, they're just so like, and it kind of makes me sort of wonder, like, what kind of personality, the personalities that go there and like soak that up. Can you imagine the kind of misery those people must carry around on a day-to-day basis?
I think you just said too, you're going to put a Republican in your cabinet.
Correct.
I love that.
I like that.
That's old school.
I like
Listen,
it too.
I know, and I've been a decision maker long enough to know that the best decisions I make are when I bring in a variety of perspectives that allow me to consider every angle and to build consensus. That's the best way as a leader, I believe, you make good decisions.
I'm guessing it's going to be Liz Cheney who you appoint. Am I correct?
I got to win, Howard. I got to win.
You got to
win.
You got to win.
And listen, but the thing about Liz Cheney, let me just say.
Could be Liz. Could be Kinzinger.
She's smart. She is a dedicated public servant. She has shown extraordinary courage in this moment where there's such violent, divisive language that she would put herself out so publicly and say, I'm country before party. And, she and I don't agree on everything.
No.
But the fundamentals we do agree on.
But she's saying my one big issue is I believe in democracy and the people's right to vote.
Yeah.
That's it. This is the United States of America. If the lights go out here, it's going to be a darkness all over the world.
Let's not throw up our hands.
What a great saying right there. Did you hear that? What Howard just said there? It's the United States of America. If the lights go out here, it's going to be a darkness over the whole world. And I mean, when you think about it, dude, that's so true. Often when you look at countries on the verge of becoming sort of like authoritarian, it is like the influence of the U.S. that prevents that authoritarianism. And if we become the dark cloud, if we become the country that's falling apart internally, right, there isn't, the energy that we have sort of like provided to the rest of the world to help them through their own difficult times is going to be gone. There's going to be like a whole new kind of chaos if we're the ones that are falling apart. And I've really seen some signs in the last 10 years of this. Obviously, like that shit in Charlottesville with the Unite the Right. You know what I'm saying? The Unite the Right, where they're like filled with anti-Semitism and there's like Nazi flags next to Trump flags, next to Confederate flags. Like what the is going on, bro? It ain't 1950 anymore. Why is that shit happening? Why do we have the Proud Boys beating up parents at schools over a school district recognizing Pride Month and being nice to gay kids? And we as a nation actually have a bunch of people that are okay with some militant freak group beating up parents when those Proud Boys don't even have fucking kids? They're not even in that school district? Like, dude, what the is that about? Or the attack on the Capitol? Somebody loses an election and they go and try to take over government buildings? Like, where are we, America, that we're engaging in that type of behavior? And what's more, there's a whole bunch of us that seem to be okay with that shit going on. Like, what is that? None of us should be okay with a group of, weird Christian militia going up and threatening people at a library because that militia group wants to control what books are available in the library. We should not be okay with that. When did we become okay with a bunch of loser fucking bullies running around thinking that they can tell everybody how to live? Like, dude, that shit is crazy. We're ignoring like some of the signs of this shit. that we really should be paying attention to. I'm so tired of these Nepo baby, talentless, bankruptcy-ridden, bullies that just are filled with grievance and constantly name-calling and putting people down, and everything's negative, and they're anti-women, and they're anti-immigrant, and they're anti-gay, and it's like, bro, I'm just tired of those fucking vibes, bro. Dude, Trump, off, bro, with your crying, whiny, oppressed, rich, white male shit, bro. Directly off. And all the people supporting him, off. We need to start working together. We need to start behaving like we're here to actually get shit done and stop behaving like we're here to just, punk the other side.